some liquor in my drink or something. You know, this is like what you hear at AA meetings, and oh my God, it triggered a relapse or something. Uh, Fine. You know, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't have that problem. Okay. It's ridiculous. You know, I can make decisions. You know, oh, surprise, surprise. I'm able to decide that I don't want to drink alcohol. You know, after three DUI offenses and I don't know, you know, the legal consequences of those, which really aren't that fun and pleasant and largely a waste of time, like being in jail for 5 months or something. You know, I'd say largely. The only thing was good about that is I actually decided that, yeah, I don't want to drink anymore, and I haven't in 5 years. You know, and, you know, is that really that difficult to understand? Really? Okay, so I just generated a flat score. Perfectly flat score. Start the car up here, and I'm gonna let it run for a second. And I'm gonna put the control tube B down, or control tube. Let's call it control tube down here, and I'm gonna put in the contaminated tube. This is contaminated Ferragamo black at the moment, and see what I get. You know, see. You know, I certainly don't expect a 0.25, but there's enough. You know, there appears to be enough contamination in there where I can see it's like vapor or something. You know, I can even smell it. You know, this is still going to generate a signal. You know, just the tube is contaminated with an alcohol-containing substance, essentially. You know, so that's the whole point here.
She went potty?
I don't know. Yeah, you know, I didn't take her. Courtney didn't take her, so probably before Courtney came here, so probably about 1. Okay, so I'm waiting for this thing to reset. It's got a minute 45. The design of this tube, you know, again, you can see the valve there, but the reservoir around it, you know, yeah, it's very effective in contaminating. You know, I can see how this, it probably is capturing a lot more Ferragamo black at the moment because it's going to have a much more difficult time evaporating, you know, from there. You know, there's a barrier to evaporation. Likewise, when the tube is in there with this valve, you know, it's going to slow down evaporation as well because that valve is going to trap stuff in there. It's open apparently on this, and I just looked down there. You can see some type of Pateau tube or something. I'm not sure exactly what you call it. You can see a tube sticking into the flow path tube, the device tube, let's say. but it's pretty clear. You can see how that whole thing can get contaminated too. I mean, it's not just the breath tube; it can be a combination of things. So, at this point, I've produced a contaminated tube. At this point, it's contaminated a Ferragamo black. I'm not sure what to do next here, but obviously tubes can become contaminated here, and this is exactly what Ruben, told me. The technician at American Interlock. Yeah, it's a 0.51. So it failed. Oh my God. So again, contaminated blow tube. So I'm going to go back to the control blow tube. So this is going to reset. It's got 3 minutes to reset. The question here is, what else do I need to demonstrate? Clearly it takes weeks or months for the whatever, enough sorbitol to get built up or whatever, and then to decompose into ethyl alcohol, get gummed up on the inside of these things to do this. I don't have time, apparently to demonstrate, physically the sorbitol to ethyl alcohol conversion or whatever. But that's trivial to do. That's organic chemistry 101. Still feeling like this stuff is making me sick. I guess, I could definitely demonstrate, I've already demonstrated, and I can re-demonstrate, contaminated blow tube, sorbitol contaminated blow tube. That's trivial to do. You can soak it in it. I chewed and blew on it. I don't think there's any question, spraying, cologne on it, let alone breathing, gum, residue into it, for months. So, yeah, I can generate a sorbitol contaminated tube. I guess the question is, how quickly is Ferragamo black here going to evaporate? If this thing sticks around long enough, that should be good enough. If this thing goes away, too quickly and generates baseline results again too quickly, I might have to generate a, alcohol modified sorbitol solution or something, and basically make a gum-coated, alcohol lining on this thing, delivery system. And, I could do it with mouthwash, or I could do it with whatever. Mouthwash might be more preferable in this context. So the last one was a 0.051, a failure. So I'm going to re-demonstrate the baseline result here. This should be a perfect 0.00 whatever, and it is. So again, just switching the blow tube. You go from a 0.051 to a 0.000 just by switching the tube. That should demonstrate something. so let's see how much Ferragamo black here is where this is at. Essentially, I want to track this on the way down. You know, it'd be nice if it actually got down. You know, hit a approach an asymptotic limit that you know, was in the near the range, you know, above 0.01 or something. You know, where you could show that, yeah, this tube is now contaminated for an indefinite period of time. It's not some sort of transient effect that's going to be gone in, you know, a minute or two or half an hour. That'd be useful. Unfortunately, I only have, you know, 2 tubes here to work with, but I do have a couple of days at this point, and I'm sure I can very quickly generate a gummed up, tube that's laced with mouthwash or something. And again, you know, the hydrolysis of sorbitol or any of these sugar alcohols is you know, this is organic chemistry 101. This is stupid. Well, then again, we're dealing with total idiots at the state who, you know, apparently don't have to know anything about anything. You know, in fact, that's a negative. You know, all you have to do is, you know, be a jackass and abuse your power, and yeah, you're one of us. So I got a minute to wait for this thing to reset. Okay, so we should be getting a signal here at least. So, you know, again, you know, I'm convincingly demonstrating how, you know, how a blow tube can be contaminated. You know, with something that, you know, otherwise might be considered innocuous. You know, I mean, yeah, 0.025. So, you know, we still have got, this has failed, right? This is another, you know, that's a minor violation right there, you know, supposedly. So, let's go back to the control tube. You know, so obviously this has nothing to do with my blood alcohol content. You know, this has to do with whether or not the tube is contaminated with alcohol, you know, essentially. You know. I gotta wait 2 minutes here.